Hello and welcome back to a very special episode. We're going to continue our series of reviewing The Last of Us TV episodes. We're joined for the first time by our wonderful co-host Midnight. This is his first episode appearing. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Very excited.
And as always, joined by Hodge, who's making his third consecutive appearance. Funny enough, I was not on the last one. I was too busy in Florida.
I
I
feel like,
apologize for that.
am I the only one with perfect attendance on this show, other than that one episode, the episodes you've done with other people?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I apologize.
I have
Sorry,
perfect. I have perfect attendance for the mainline show, but I missed the Kingdom Hearts for obvious reasons, and
wonder why.
I missed 2 weeks of this because my dad was in town, so
Yeah.
he was staying with me, and we had fun.
Nice.
Well, I apologize about last week, everyone. I was gallivanting Florida, getting ready for GTA 6.
Nice.
There you go.
All right, but as you know, this is a review. We're reviewing each episode of The Last of Us. If you missed our first 2 episodes, you can find them on YouTube. As always, you can find us on YouTube. Please subscribe, like us. You can follow us on X, Gameoverplastic. You can really just follow us on any podcast service, subscribe to us, leave us a review, leave us a rating. But before we get into episode 3, we need to get Midnight's thoughts on episode 1 and 2 just briefly. We don't need a full-on plot recap here, but what are you thinking so far?
All right, so let me give you 20 minutes on this. So
Yeah, spit some bars.
And we're actually recording in the evening for once, so I can crack open a beer. I got a beer here.
Whoa!
I might as well.
NSF, not safe for work. NSFW.
Yeah, so episode 1, I'll be honest with you, it's been over 2 weeks now. I don't really remember all the details. I do remember that I enjoyed the episode. I remember the stalker was in episode 1, right?
Yep.
The stalker was pretty cool. As people may or may not know, I never played the games. So this is kind of unique for me because I don't have much of an idea of what's going to happen. I don't know what was in the game and what they added or expounded on for the show alone, like they sometimes do. But I thought it was cool. First time I've ever seen a stalker, intelligent, infected, who was like literally stalking her. And that was real cool. So I liked that. And overall, I mean, it was a good episode. We got to meet Abby and her crew a little bit. We got to see the lesbian kiss was in this episode 1, was it not? I think so. Yeah. So that was cool. Shout out to Dina. I like her actress. She's very attractive. I'm a fan of that. And I mean, it's been good. It's been good. I enjoyed the first episode. Episode 2, obviously, was the banger, if you will, where the big event happened. Now everyone knew about this, that Joel died. I knew about that, even though
I didn't know.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is Spoilercast, so now literally I think everybody knows that. I knew that was coming as well. I thought it was well done for the most part. I feel like it could have been way better done, though, to be honest. Like they could have shown a lot more violence. I do believe that they chose not to. It was like a stylistic choice to make it not super violent. But like a lot of it was done off camera of, the damage and stuff. Mm-hmm. I think Dina was only there really to say that's Joel, just to tip off Abby. That was the vibes I got, because there was like no point for her being there.
And for her to hear like the WLF. And get their names.
That's true. That did come up in this episode we're about to talk about. But yeah, it was good. I mean, R.I.P. Joel. We barely knew you, so that sucks. I am surprised that they actually had the balls to stick to doing it this early. Part of me thought that they were going to kind of shift the order of operations for the TV show. I thought maybe they would do like the flashback stuff early on in the season, then actually kill him in a later episode. But they didn't. They had the balls. They killed his ass. He's dead. So rip Joel. Yeah, so far so good. I'll leave it at that. 1 and 2.
Well,
I'm enjoying it.
I was gonna say Midnight. If you know the order of operations, nothing can ever change in order of the operations.
Is that so?
PEMDAS. Yeah, PEMDAS parentheses. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, my thoughts on episode 2, since I wasn't here last week, pretty briefly. I thought it was awesome. It felt like a season finale to me, to be honest. It felt like that level of chaos and everything. I liked the Joel death scene. I do agree. They could have done more of it on camera, but if you look back at season 1, a lot of the violence wasn't shown. It was you could kind of hear it. You really couldn't see it. The most violent scene that they did show was obviously the season finale when Joe goes on a rampage. That was like the first real like violence that you got.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the scene where Abby shoots Joel with a shotgun. That came out of, like, that was just kind of out of nowhere. I was like, oh my god! Like, I remember that from the game, but like it just came out of nowhere. My mom was really mad, like, at Abby. She's like really pissed off, like extremely pissed, like to the point where she's like, I'm not watching this anymore. And then obviously she's like, no, I am gonna watch it.
Did she know it was coming?
No, she had no idea. She was like,
she's one of the few.
Mean? She thought that Ellie was gonna save them. She thought when Abby when Ellie said, "Come on, Joel, just get up," and you see kind of Joel kind of trying to push himself up. She thought he was gonna push himself up. She like screamed. She put her head like this when Joel got stabbed in the neck. She could not handle it. She was like, oh. She was making noise. I'm like, me and my dad were just like laughing at her because I rewatched it with them.
That's funny. That reminds me of I don't want to spoil a different show, but that reminds me of something that happens in the last episode of the very first season of Game of Thrones. I won't say it is, but I was totally, as a virgin viewer of that show, I was totally thinking that like it was going to go different and that someone was going to save the day, but nope.
Yeah. I also just real quick before we get into episode 3, I actually did like the attack on Jackson. I thought that was I did like it. I think it was so different than the game because it was just that didn't happen in the game, so it makes things. It shows they're going places that the game wouldn't go. They're also gonna change. I think it shows us that they're willing to change a lot of things. I thought it was funny though, like stereotypical. The girl in the wheelchair is working the radio. Very stereotypical. Batgirl, which is funny.
Well, what else can she do?
Yeah.
She's crippled. She got to do something.
I did think when they kept showing Tommy and Tommy's wife, I thought Tommy's wife was going to die. And I thought for a brief moment, you know how Tommy, after he kills the bloater, he's running through and just shooting things? I thought he was going to inadvertently shoot her, which would have been awful. That would have been so bad. I also liked the idea of like the greater good. You see the guy who gets bit, he kind of puts the gun, he hands the gun to them. It's like, kill me now. We did get the 2 cowards who run away. Freaking cowards. That's what the first thing I have. I go, cowards! But you always get those people. But yeah, I thought they did a good job. I liked it a lot. But yeah, you guys ready to jump into episode 3?
Yeah, you were kind of reminded me real quick. Like that was so random. Like, so that didn't happen in the game, that huge attack?
No. I have an idea of why they did it. I think they wanted to give more of a... I don't know. It's hard to explain it without spoiling the game to you, Midnight.
Yeah.
It is interesting the way they did it. I think. Oh, one more thing I will say about the Joel death. I think it would have been a lot more powerful if we didn't know Abby's motives like they did in the game. Like we don't know her motive at first. I would have liked that better. I think they did it to try to make people like sympathize with Abby, and I really honestly don't think it worked because anyone I've talked to who has no idea what's happening still freaking hates her. They're like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think they did that. I think they did that twofold to make you sympathize with Abby and also to soften the blow a little bit because you can see it coming.
Yeah. Although it is interesting, if you look at like the reaction of all her crewmates, the only one, this is coming from someone who didn't play the game, who doesn't know anything about my mom. She's like, oh, all of them were so like you could tell they didn't want to do it, except for that Manny guy. That guy sucks. It was pretty fun. I'm like, Mom, if you hate him now, you should have seen he spit on the body in the game.
It's just so random to me that all of a sudden you have like 800 or 1,000 or whatever infecteds coming out of the frozen ground. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But whatever.
I think they did. I think they did a good job explaining it. How like they're at the beginning they're talking about how they use them to for insulation. And it is funny that inadvertently it kind of was Abby's fault that a bunch of the infected got released when she falls down the mountain. Well, falls down a little hill. I think it's funny. But yeah, overall, I think they're doing a good job. I thought episode 2 so far is my favorite one. But yeah, let's get into episode 3. Episode 3, interesting. It's kind of not, I wouldn't say filler, but I think it kind of more along the lines of, all right, let's just set up what the rest of the season is going to look like. We get brief glimpses at the WLF. We get brief glimpses at the WLF. We get some glimpses at the Seraphites. I think it does go to show you there's a scene. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but there is a scene near the end where they show all the dead Seraphites. It goes to show you how brutal the WLF is, and I think it goes to show you that Abby doesn't know what truly is going on with them, because she says in episode 2, "Oh, we were trained not to kill anyone who's defenseless or can't defend themselves," and we see them we assume they just kind of brutally murder them, especially with the kids. I think it really does hit home. It was a pretty hard moment.
Kid had
I
a
know
hammer.
Hodge.
Wasn't defenseless.
Well, we don't. I mean, yeah, gun to a hammer. Yeah, we'll see who wins that one. I know Hodge is going to disagree with me. The more I've watched this season, I think Bella Ramsey is doing actually a good job as Ellie. I think the way they're taking her as Ellie, they're making it different than the game. I think she comes off as not as like, oh my god, I'm so intense. They're taking a more approach where she's vulnerable and innocent. We get the scene where she cries at the gravestone. She cries with the jacket. She obviously doesn't want people to know, because anytime someone's near her, she's acting all tough. I'm not saying she's great. I still think she's the worst cast member of this crew. And shout out to Seth, his little redemption arc. Yeah, but that's my initial thoughts. I like the episode. I think it's the weakest of the 3 so far, though. But I can. Did you guys watch the scenes for the episode 4?
Remind me again who Seth is.
He's the guy. He's the guy who yells at her at the barn for them kissing.
Oh, yeah. He did a good
family event. It's a family event.
You damn gays or whatever.
And he's got his Trump hat on.
Yeah. He had a good redemption.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's funny that like he couldn't go with him. I got friendly fire. Friendly fire took me on. You sure it was friendly? That was a funny quippy line. But those are my initial thoughts. Hodge, what do you think? You haven't really spoken much. I know. Ready? Hang on. Here we go. Hodge is gonna say he liked some parts but hated other parts.
Yeah, I guess it started off.
Every episode. Yeah,
it started off really strong, and then it just came to a screeching halt, which makes sense because the big event happened last week. It can't just keep rolling every single week, so they have to set up what's going to happen. I liked that they kind of actually showed the journey to Seattle. It didn't just teleport after the stuff happened like in the game, so that was neat. They're for some reason they're slow burning the Dina Ellie relationship. I don't know what I mean. Obviously, they changed up what happened with who was in the pot. Eugene's place in the previous episode, it was Jesse and Ellie instead of Ellie and Dina. But no, I actually, surprisingly, you got it completely wrong. I actually thought Ellie did, or Bella did a very good job in this episode. I thought the opening was really powerful. She actually was like, during when she woke up screaming and stuff, I was like, damn, she actually is belting this out. She's doing a really good job. Like, again, I agree. Horrible casting overall. She should not be Ellie in the first place, but no, she did a really good job. And actually, I was thinking this the whole time watching it. My biggest complaint, I was saying this to Locke last week, my biggest complaint with Ellie in The Last of Us Part 2 is she wasn't Ellie. She was just a mopey, angry person the entire game, but she still has that sarcasm in this. And I love that she still has her attitude of being that sarcastic asshole. And so I love that they're doing that this season. I think they realized that after the game, like, oh shit, no one liked Ellie in that game because she was kind of a bitch the entire time. So I was just gonna say, I love that she's still herself in this season, and I love that about it.
I can definitely see that they've taken like feedback from what the audience perception like even like that. I know we don't necessarily agree with having Abby, opening with Abby in season 1 and episode 1. Not all of us agree about that, but I can see that they're taking the response of the audience and trying to change things.
I don't know if you guys listened to the episode last week I did with Locke, but like I said, just really quickly, if anyone who might not have heard it from last week, Locke had a good reason same with you, as to why they shouldn't have shown Abby, because then when she meets Joel, you would have not known what's going to go on. But also I do think that there were good reasons to show her first, like
Mhm.
like you said, to sympathize with her a little more. So I'm kind of take it or leave it on introducing Abby first, but yeah, I think they're definitely going to definitely try and make Abby more sympathetic this time around, because I never was on her side in the game. Not a single moment was I, but I like Caitlin Dever, so I'm hoping that she's a little more sympathetic this season.
Wouldn't shock me if we don't see that specific crew, Abby's like them together, or it would not shock me if we don't see them for. I know we saw Manny at the end of the episode, but like, would not shock me if we don't see a lot of them the rest of the series, the rest of this season.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either.
All right,
Midnight. What
What
do you?
about? Yeah, spit some bars, bud.
Yeah, I got bars. So I agree with Hodge. Actually, I think last night's episode, um, Bella Ramsey as Ellie did start to grow on me a little bit. I think she did a good job in the last episode. Also, too, I don't know if they're using like some CGI or like some kind of like filters or something, but she looked more mature and her head looked slightly less potato-ish. Like, I mean, I don't know, like her face looked a little bit more angular. I don't know. Are they like using some kind of like Instagram filters on her? I don't know, but I thought she looked more like Ellie than she had in the previous episodes. She did. She looked older. She looked more mature. I thought her. Obviously, I don't know what happens in the game, but I thought that like the way she reacted to Joel was very believable and sincere feeling, and I liked it. You know, the crying scenes, the moments of weakness. I liked her little speech. I actually got a little bit emotional, a little watery eyes, a little bit during her little speech at the council about how like we gotta be a family, we're us, we got to avenge, you know what I mean. That was very well done. Overall, like I thought this was a really really good episode. I don't mind the slow burn episodes. I kind of enjoy slow burn episodes where it's just kind of brooding and
Mhm.
building up the plot, and that's very much what this was. I really enjoyed it the whole way through. I thought this was a great episode. I like this one just as much, maybe even more than episode one. I thought it was good. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't know what was going on. Like those, what were those people with like the weird cuts on their face that got?
Seraphites.
I don't know anything about them. I don't know who they are, but
Yeah,
they
Yeah,
got
you don't.
massacred.
I think you're gonna just see glimpses of them, but I think you'll get more detail in season 3.
Okay. So yeah, that was
My opinion.
interesting. And then of course they had that big moment at the end where you see like how strong and how deep the WLF is rolling. Like they're rolling
Yeah, it's
through
like
with
the
armored
Nazis
vehicles,
rolling in.
and they had
The
like
Nazis.
what 50 or 80 people marching or something.
Yeah.
So Dina and Ellie are going to have their work cut out for them. I would say they're a bit outnumbered.
Yeah, no, some of my favorite scene you made a reference to was in that council scene when Ellie makes that speech about us,
Mhm.
and how we get the we get the comedic opening with the guy who's talking about the corn. Well, I don't really have any interest in the Seattle expedition though. You can shut up then. Then we get other people speaking up. And I was shocked. I was surprised that they had Seth like speak up like that. They kind of gave him an expanded role. It's interesting that they did that. But I liked it. I liked your speech a lot. I did like the, this is us, we are community. I
Mhm.
liked how Seth was like, we don't turn our backs on, we don't open our locks when someone kills our brother. We don't let them in our house. I thought that was pretty powerful. But yeah, overall, it was a slow burn. Hodge, I do agree with you. I think it is a little strange that they are slowly building that relationship between Ellie and Dina, especially given they showed us the kiss scene right away.
Mhm.
So yeah, they do make a little and we get the scene where Dina throws up near the end when she sees all the dead bodies. Interesting. A couple ideas about that.
One thing I noticed here that I didn't quite understand, and it might be because I'm an idiot, so don't make fun of me too bad. But I noticed that when Ellie went to Joel's grave, she spread some coffee beans on his grave. And
Yeah,
what was the symbolism behind that? Did I miss something?
in the first season, Joel's drinking coffee and he drinks it black, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And so Joel like lets her have some, and she's like, "This tastes like poop.
He also talks about how he trades more than he's proud of for coffee because he loves coffee. So
Okay.
it's he's I can't remember if it was when Dina came over or what, but there was another scene where he talks about like he has coffee, or maybe it was in the first, I don't remember, but there was some scene where they asked like where to get the coffee. He goes, I traded some stuff I'm not proud of, kind of thing. Like he's very into coffee, so that was that.
Well, he and I both.
And then that was interesting. I like that scene a lot. Yeah, no, overall though, I think they are doing a great job. Hodge, want to add some more? Bud?
No, I'm ready to hop into the episode itself if you want.
All right. So yeah, we get that opening scene where they're in the hospital and Ellie wakes up and she's screaming.
There's a cold open first where Tommy walks in to see Joel's body.
Oh yeah, right. Yep.
And it's this is actually my favorite scene in the entire episode, where it's very powerful, where he notices the watch and it just instantly makes him think of Sarah, and he just looks at me and goes, give Sarah my best, because Joel and Sarah are back together again up in heaven. So and I thought that was a beautiful scene.
Yeah. And you could tell in season 1, from episode 1, you could tell that Tommy spent a lot of time with both Sarah and Joel back then. So
yeah,
you know how close they were. That was a powerful scene. It did hit a lot. I didn't think that it was crazy to me that like they have like a morgue. Like I never really thought about it. Like they have a morgue with all the bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they added it zooms out and it shows all the other bodies that are in the room also. Yeah. And yeah, I thought that was a great scene. But then yes, it does cut to Ellie in the hospital. Unless Midnight has something to add to that as well.
No, I thought it was great.
Yeah, so then we cut to the hospital where Ellie's waking up, and
at first I was like, how are they not going to notice like her bites like on her? But then I remembered she covered the one with the tattoo, and then she cut the other one. But I do agree with you. I thought that was really powerful with her screaming. It's like shows it like that PTSD almost. Like I cannot believe this actually happened. Like I cannot believe this is real.
Yeah, which is not to, this isn't a spoiler for the game or anything, but in the game she does deal with PTSD, so it's really cool that like they're showing it out the gate, because in the game it was kind of at the end she started getting it, but having it start with it is a smart choice.
Yeah, having her almost wake up and be like, this is like a surreal moment, like she can't believe it actually happened.
Yeah,
which I really liked.
Yeah,
and then Midnight.
So
before oh sorry, go Midnight.
I was going to say, so like they held her in the hospital for 3 months, which I thought was, because she wasn't really physically hurt much during the.
I think she might have emotional. They did the breathing thing. I think a lot of it had to do with the broken ribs.
Maybe they punctured a lung or something, because she had the
broken rib punctured
into her side.
Yeah, that's what
stuff,
I was thinking. So. Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on to the next scene, I wanted to say, did you guys notice that they changed the opening a little bit?
No,
I didn't watch it. I skipped. I
skipped it.
Oh, at the end, you know how when it's showing all the fungus grow and stuff, at the end it shows the Joel and Ellie little fungus. The Joel one's gone.
That's a nice touch. That's a really nice touch.
Yeah, so it's literally just her now. Yeah, okay. I like that, and I was wondering if they would change it, because obviously they didn't want anyone to know Joel's leaving this season when they were advertising it. So I was always wondering, like, are they going to change stuff after Joel's gone? And so I liked that little.
That is interesting. It makes me wonder if they'll change stuff later.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that is interesting. Yeah, and then we go to the house now. Ellie's at Joel's house.
Yeah, well, really quickly, it shows 3 months later they're all rebuilding, and it shows that Jesse's better than Tommy when hammering down the post, and Tommy like smirks and is like, shit, young guy's getting there, kind of thing.
That dude is jacked, by the way. Was he always that strong? Like, I didn't notice him that strong in the first couple episodes. This dude's ripped, man.
Well, he doesn't really do anything in the first few episodes, so
he's been working out.
He's just kind of there. Yeah, I wonder how much of a role he's going to play in this, because he didn't play much of a role in the game, so I'm hoping that he's a little bigger in this.
Yeah, I like the casting of him. I think he's doing a great job, and I really hope. I do agree. I hope he has a little bit of a bigger role. He has like it's it's like a minor role in the game, but it does play like an important.
Yeah, it's important, but it's just smaller. I'm wondering if he's gonna be around, like doing more
Yeah.
shit in this one. But then it goes to the hospital where Ellie's getting released, and then we get more Catherine. This is what I said. Like, I love that she's still sarcastic. Like, Catherine O'Hara walks in the, I don't know what her character's name in this is, but she walks in. Ellie's basically just like, shit. Like, great, I have to talk to you. She said, oh, for fuck's sake.
I love how, like, we get it later, but I love how she, like, this does it for, like, weed and beer. She's like, weed and alcohol.
Well, yeah, because I like that because she talks about, like, I'm the therapist and I'm supposed to have a therapist to unload all this.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what do you do? She goes, I'm an alcoholic and I smoke a lot of weed. But yeah, I've really enjoyed her addition because she's not in the game at all. This character, there's no therapist in the game. So she's been like a really good addition to the show, I think.
Yeah, she provides a little bit of comedic relief, but at the same time, she like kind of tells what the characters like are feeling in their mind. Like the characters are thinking this. Like when she's with Joel, like how she knows that Joel did something, and Joel wants to tell someone, but he can't.
Yeah, and then. I love that in this scene also. She's like, before Joel said he said like he did you wrong by saving you. What did he mean? And Ellie will still refuse to tell. Yeah. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but we do find out what it is, that the reason why she's angry. So I'm looking forward to that in the show.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can assume is that she suspects that he lied to her about the hospital. But I don't know other than that why she's so pissed.
Her inappropriately.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, they turned Joel into a pedophile.
Oh, Jesus.
They named him in the script who was referred to as Drake.
God.
Yeah, but then she does go to Joel's house. That's the next scene.
By the way, no Drake slander here. I'm a Drake fan. He's not a pedo.
I like them both. Both.
These are lies. Anyway.
Yeah, so we go to the scene in the house, and I thought that was really powerful when she sees the jacket, and she's just walking around. She's going through all the stuff. She, opens the box, gets the gun, but then she sees the jacket, and she goes over to that jacket, and she just breaks down. She can't handle it. She starts crying.
Well, because it's also a thing of you can smell them.
Yeah.
So you're just taken right back to it. Like, I mean, thankfully both my parents are alive, so I haven't had to deal with that. But my like after a girlfriend or something, if there's some piece of clothing that they used to wear or something of yours, like I had a hoodie I remember once and I smelled it, and like it was like a month later I was like, oh fuck, it smells just like her. Kind of thing. And yeah, it's a rough moment. So
yeah, and that's the jacket. That's the jacket that, like, he was wearing all the time. And just think of all the times where, like, they're riding on the horse and she's behind him, like, hugging on him, like, smelling the jacket.
Yeah.
After they saved each other's life or big moments happen,
And it just goes to show you, like, it's like she's 19. Like, no 19-year-old wants to, like, bury a parent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Hodge, me and you, like, Hodge, you're in your 30s. Midnight, you're in your 30s. I'm in my 20s. None of us even want to bury a parent. And like, that's like 10 years, at least 10 years, 9 years younger than me. And like, I couldn't even imagine. So it's like, it is surreal. Yeah.
So then Dina shows up and she has to hide her tears to show, like you said, she has to pretend she's tougher than she is and has to hide what's going on.
I do like how Ellie kind of get a little angry that Dina wouldn't share that right away at the hospital, but because it goes to show how good their relationship is, because Dina knows that if she did that, she would just she would have stormed right out of the hospital.
Mm-hmm. And she even says that she's like, "Here's the cookies to lessen the blow of what I'm about to tell you."
I was waiting for Ellie to make a sarcastic remark, like at the end, be like, "Yeah, these cookies suck, by the way."
Yeah.
But yeah, then we get the this really goes to show you how like Dina kind of knew that was the role she was playing. Like, she heard everything that was going on. She heard their names. She heard the WLF. She even saw the logo. They even make a reference to it in episode 2. She's like, "Oh, what's that logo? WLF Wolf?" And she can draw it. Good thing she's a good artist, because if that was me, that we would have never found that. That would have been bad. But yeah, and then we get like the whole scene about after. Did you guys want to comment on that? Because then don't we transfer to the workout scene?
Well, I just wanted to say quickly, I like that after she kind of explains everything, Ellie already forgives her, and it's just kind of symbolized by her pushing the box of cookies over to her to let her take one. And I just I like that little moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, then they're out the farm and they're talking to Tommy, and Ellie's like, "We need to do something." And I love this where Tommy's like, "He was my brother. Like I knew him forever. Like don't talk to me about how to react about my brother."
Yeah,
I just love that.
That was a very strong statement and scene. I remember that too. That one stuck with me.
It also goes to show you, it like puts into perspective for Ellie. Like she's 19. Think about back when you were 19. It's like it's hard to put yourself in someone else's shoes at that age, especially because I know you're technically an adult, but you're still a kid. Like it's really hard to view events through someone else's like perspective, and especially because she's lived with them for 5 years with Tommy and them, but she spent that time with Joel. Like I know she spent months with Joel, just her and him, just like going at it and like learning about each other, and she feels like she would probably feel it's the only adult she's ever been really close to. So she must feel like this is the only relationship that he had too. So it's just interesting. And they make the reference like Joel would be if this is Joel, he would be out there. He would already been in Seattle. But yeah, it was a powerful scene. Go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say, which I liked Tommy's rebuttal to that. He's like, no. He's like, if it was to save someone, he'd already be there. But if they're already gone, he would just be broken.
Which is, I mean, yeah, which is true. Because if you think about when they back in season 1, they talk about the years after. Well, what happened right after Sarah died? He tried to kill himself.
Yeah, and also when that other girl early on in season 1, what was her name? Tess died. He took that very badly too. So
yeah.
Yep.
Because he in the next episode he's like, "Don't say her name. Don't ever say her name." That's what he says to Ellie. But yeah, I thought that was very powerful. Now, I know the next 2 scenes. Is the next scene the workout scene, or is the next scene the baseball scene?
Next scene is the Seraphites walking through the forest.
Okay, the Seraphites. All right, so I was wrong.
So, but before we get to that, I want to say also really quick, the big change that they made from the game is now Tommy's like, we have to go to Maria for this. Like the game, I don't want to spoil. Obviously, he's going to still be involved in everything, but I don't want to spoil exactly what happens. Obviously, for Midnight, but in the game, he just storms off to defend him. But in this, he's more level headed. He's like, we need to go to Maria for this. So I thought that was an interesting change.
Yeah, and I think a good way that they made that change like logical was what happened in episode 2 with the whole town. I think he's thinking bigger picture here. Like if I leave, like what if this happens again? Bigger picture. And I think it goes to show you that remember in the first game, like she was more in charge in the first game, the wife.
Yeah.
Well, Maria, she was more in charge of the first game, and then in the second game, it seemed more like Tommy was in charge. And I think they're doubling back down and like, oh no, Maria's really the one in charge here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we get the Seraphite scene, and I think I mentioned it before. I think it goes to show you how scared the Seraphites are of the wolves, basically, because you hear like the second they get the whistle, they go from being like really lighthearted and cheery, like the whistle. Like he's like talking to the little girl about the whistle, and then they get the other whistle sound, and they're like, "Oh crap, we gotta hide! Like we have to hide."
Mm-hmm. Really quickly, I wanted to say I love that they're bringing back the whistle because that was part of the game. But before we get into it more, I just want to know, what are your initial impressions, or like at this moment, what was your initial impressions of the Seraphites Midnight? Like, what did you think of them? Like, what about them?
Confusion.
Do you think they're kind of setting up?
Confusion. I'm like, who are these people? Why are their faces like kind of cut in like this weird pattern? Why they all got hammers and stuff? Where are they going? Who are they running from? I didn't know what was going on. It was obvious they were fleeing some people, and it was tense. But yeah, I don't know who they are or what the hell their point is.
Okay, because I was just curious, because since they have scars on their cheeks, I didn't know. I was curious, as someone who hasn't played the game, like how they're being set up, like what are the people's impressions of them out the gate, because they're a very complicated group. I'm not going to spoil obviously anything about this. I want you to learn about them as the show wants you to, but I was just kind of curious as to what your initial impressions of them were.
It reminded me
kind
of
remember that fanaticism, maybe. Who knows?
It
reminded me talk about their prophet.
in the trailer. Remember the trailer for the game, Hodge? That trailer with the Seraphites in it, like that.
Oh
It's one
yeah,
of the
the one
one of
that basically almost everyone was like, I don't want to play this
yeah,
because of
and it
it.
was like what? Like no one had any idea what was going on.
Yeah,
It reminded me of that. Like my mom has no idea. She's like, "What? What's up with these people?" I'm like, "You'll find out." That's all I had to say. So, um, but yeah, and then we go to baseball scene or workout scene. Cannot remember.
workout scene.
Okay, workout scene with Abby. I mean, jeez, I keep saying it. With Ellie trying to get jacked like Abby, game Abby. Um, I like that scene. It kind of just goes to show you that like Jesse is still, he still cares about Ellie, and even though he's got a higher role now, he's going to be sitting on the council. And Ellie even asks him like, "Are you gonna? Can I expect your vote?" And like he won't even say because he's such a rule follower. And it goes back to in episode 2 when Ellie's like, "Oh, you're going to be running Jackson one day."
Yeah, but not now.
Yeah, but not now.
And we know he voted no. You can just tell.
I wouldn't shock me if if at first I was thinking I thought wouldn't have shocked me if Tommy voted no just so he could go out instead of sacrificing 16 people.
Yeah, because that's the thing is I knew it was going to vote no. Obviously, we'll get to it, but I knew it was going to be no because I was like, well, in the game, unless they're changing it, in the game, there wasn't 16 people that went.
Yeah,
so
it was 3.
Yeah, it was 3. So yeah, I knew it was going to be no, but yeah, I don't know because it wasn't it 3 yeses.
It was 8-3 was the final vote. 8-3 was the final vote.
Yeah, so I mean,
no.
maybe they're setting up so it is like Maria, Tommy, Jesse are for you to think it's those 3, but then in reality it's going to be 3 randos, and they're all like, no, I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe we'll never get the answer. Who knows?
Probably not.
Yeah. But yeah, then we get to the I do like how Jesse was like, write it down because no one's gonna vote for you angry, like kind of thing. Smart. And I really like that.
Very level-headed. Very level-headed.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we get to like you said, we get to the town meeting and the guy's talking about corn. Everyone's like, shut up.
Corn grows quicker.
Does this have anything to do with Seattle? No. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, I love it because, like I said in one of the older episodes, it's so accurate, like painfully accurate to how a meeting would go. Like in the other one where they're kind of making the quips like "Don't be like Earl" kind of thing, and in this one there's just the one guy who just can't read the room, can't take the hint. He's like, I want to talk about corn, and everyone's like, shut up, we don't want to talk about corn.
It reminds me of school committee meetings. At school committee meetings, they have a start time, but there's no end time because everyone can kind of. And like there'll be a pressing issue, and someone will be bringing up like, "Oh, what about lunch selection?" It's like, no, we're trying to vote on a new school here, not lunch selection. It reminded me of that. But yeah, we get the whole Seth standing up like we talked about. That was like I said, that was very surprising to me because I didn't expect that. I like when they flashed over to him, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. He's there, and then he stands up and like. I thought his speech was really powerful. I saw some people saying that Ellie should have gave that version of this. That should have been in her speech. I thought it was equally fine to have Seth do it, and her speech I kind of built off of it. And she, it's funny. He even makes reference to saying like, "You're the one who called us, not me. Like I didn't say us. You said us."
Yeah.
But I did like his whole like, if someone kills your brother, leave the door. You don't leave the door unlocked for them to come right in. They took one of our own. Again, it's just more of like a redemption arc for him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I like that they're adding a redemption to him because in the game it's just bacon sandwiches, which again, thank God they didn't put that stupid fucking line in the game in the show. But
he was hammered he was hammered when he said that.
No, she said it. Remember?
Yeah, no, I know that. No, I'm saying when he made the original comments in the game, he was hammered.
Oh well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like I like that. In the game, it's basically that moment, the sandwiches, and then you never see him again. So I like that they're giving him that little bit of redemption. And because it shows like, yeah, he might be a little homophobic or whatever, but he does still care about her. He still cares about everyone. He cares about the town. He cared about Joel.
He cares about the creative community. He even gives them supplies later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
And he's like the big reason why they get out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like his redemption. Like I said, I loved her speech. Ellie's speech was great. I'm almost positive that what's his name, the jacked Asian dude voted no, because he doesn't want Ellie and Dina to leave because he loves them. So, but who knows? Maybe we'll find out later. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did think one thing that I thought was kind of weird is like this arbitrary number of 16. How come Ellie or nobody was like, well, give us 5 people, give us 6 people, let us go out.
Yeah.
We don't need 16, but nobody brought that up. They're just like, okay, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I will say also, I like that they kind of had the one lady stand up and say like,
give her perspective.
I lost my sister and all, like, because it adds more realism to it, where it's like, it's not just these 6 people who live in this town. Like, there's still other people and they all lost people too. Like, it's true that it would be like, yeah, everyone loved Joel, but we lost other people too. Like, we can't just focus on Joel. Like, so I like that it had like, it was a valid argument against it. Like, no, we always lose. Like, people are always lost. But
yeah, like if you say, it's just like what I said. Like, if you 16 leave and this happens again, we're gonna lose even more people.
Yeah, and I like though. I just lost my train of thought. Never mind. Let's move on. So after that, obviously everyone votes no, and it cuts away to. Then we get to the baseball game where Catherine O'Hara is drunk and watching.
Best scene in the episode. They have baseball. It's funny. She makes the comment about the Tigers. She's like, "Oh, same team as 03."
Yeah, looking about the same as they did in 03.
Did you guys get the reference?
No.
Is the 03 that was that horrible Tigers team?
The Tigers had one of the third worst team in baseball history that year. Tigers were terrible. They won 43 games.
And then did the White Sox beat that last year?
Yeah, the White Sox have the worst of all time. Which could be tough by the Rockies this year. But yeah, it was pretty funny that she made that reference, and then the kids are like so bad. She's just sitting there in the outfield drinking.
Yeah, the kid hits the ball, he's run to first, he falls over.
Falls down. It's about right. Yeah. And she's just drinking. It's like, that's so, like, if you look back at like playing Little League, there were parents who were getting hammered in the stands.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's how you keep it interesting. But then, Tommy comes down and sits down, and I love that Catherine O'Hara, as you know, she's been a therapist for 40 years or whatever. She's just like, she's a liar. Like, I could tell immediately she's lying.
And she is.
And which again goes back to, like, she's not telling her what Joel was actually talking about when he said, I saved her and all that. And I love this character. I hope I don't know if once they leave, are we going to get more of this? Because obviously,
I think we will, because there's flashbacks of her. I mean, there's scenes with her talking to Joel about other things, and we have not seen them yet.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure about that.
So I think we will. I think we're going to see her in some especially. I have a theory they're going to do a whole Eugene episode.
I can see
what
that.
actually happened. Maybe not a whole episode, but maybe like a flashback, because I have a couple theories about why Joel killed Eugene.
Yeah, because I think it probably is. I wonder if it's like making it. Because I feel like it's hinting that Eugene turned, but I wonder if that's like a red herring and it's.
Well, did you see? Else. Yeah, we'll go. Let's sidebar. Back in episode 2, when Ellie found out that he was a Firefly.
Yeah,
and she makes a weird face, like, "Oh boy, could this?" And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe Joel told her, hey, listen, he told her the story, like, he was turning, I killed him. But then she's putting it 2 and 2 together in her mind, like, oh my gosh, what if he was a Firefly and he was getting suspicion of what Joel might have done? And then Joel killed him because of that.
Oh, that would be cool.
Or maybe they were out on a patrol and he's like, listen, I know what you did.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is random theories I was thinking of. Who knows? Maybe we don't even know. It might just be like, I'm overthinking it.
Yeah. I mean, we overthought about Abby and them getting into town and being like Trojan horses.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, they're going to infiltrate town.
We were very wrong about that.
Very, very wrong. Very wrong. I thought they were going to drag it out.
Yeah, I did too. I did not expect them to kill him off in episode 2. I expected.
I was thinking episode 4 or 5.
Yeah, I thought it'd be later. I knew it wouldn't be a season finale thing because the trailers showed her in Seattle, so I knew it wasn't going to be end of the season. But I did not expect it to be only 2 episodes in. But then we cut to Ellie is preparing to leave, and the only thing she is loading is guns. And Dina shows up and is like, hey, idiot, you got to bring food and blankets and
medicine.
Shit like that.
Yeah, that was funny.
I liked this scene because, again, like I've said, I find Dina to be a super annoying character. She is, especially in the game. In the show, she's a little better, even though she is kind of season 1 Ellie of please shut up, kind of, even though it's just less charming. But the actress is hot, so I guess, whatever. But But I do like that they kind of have that thing of Ellie's kind of bullheaded and Dina's like kind of the smart one of like, hey, we gotta settle down. We gotta plan this a little better because she
Yeah.
does the thing of like, where are you going? And she's like, northwest. Like that's all she says. She's like, I'm going northwest, and she's like, she plots it out and everything. And yeah, I really liked this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Midnight
Um,
or Sean, one of you.
Go ahead, Sean.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, no, I do like the scene a lot. Again, it shows you that, like you had said, like Ellie's like, I just need to kill these. I'm gonna go out. I'm just gonna kill these people. She's out for revenge. Whereas Dina's like, well, we got to think about it logically. Let's go. They did a really good job with that. And then it obviously it sets up beautifully into like the next scene with like, all right, we're gonna go out 3 a.m. Here's where we're gonna be. And I like how she's like, wait, only one horse? It's like, yeah, less car, less. She like wasn't even thinking. She's like, yeah, one horse, less things to carry.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ellie was just like, well, what if I get a boner kind of thing. So
Yeah, that was it. It's just like in Family Guy when Peter and Cleveland are on the motorcycle together.
Yeah. I thought that was a great scene. It was good. I like how she's like, oh, I'm about to go to bed. And Dina's like, yeah, I don't think that's where you're going to go, actually.
Yeah.
You're going to be going somewhere else.
yeah.
It's like,
she sees through her bullshit.
Yeah. It was a good scene.
So then we get to now they're leaving, and then Seth shows up and hands her like, I like how he holds out the gun. He's like, just take it. It's better. Like, yeah,
It's
he's
better.
like, he's not like, Ellie doesn't trust him still, kind of because big at sandwiches or whatever. But he's just like, just take this. It's better than your rifle. I'm on your side. And then he shakes her hand, which is really nice. I really like that too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, he shakes her hand.
Nice.
Yeah, he shakes her hand. They do the little handshake, and then they get out. And again, he's the reason they get out. And again, it goes great to that redemption arc. And then I do like how they don't just go like day one Seattle like they did in the game where they kind of show a little bit of the journey. It shows them even discovering the Seraphite. You get more of that comedic humor too, where they're going through and they're trying to just name like, oh, let's go through the alphabet, let's name bands. And then she's like, all right, I'm done with this. Can we name something? Oh, think of another topic then.
Yeah.
What about people let's talk about people we've killed.
Yeah. But before we get that, we do Ellie visits Joel's grave for the first time.
Bad. Yeah, my bad.
But
with the coffee beans.
Yeah, with the coffee beans. And I thought, again, it's another moment where Ellie completely miscast, but Bella is doing well. And it was a very well acted scene of her being at the grave and just realizing like, I'm going to do this for you kind of thing. Like, and kind of gives him the send off of like rest in peace with the beans and whatnot.
Yeah, it was very, very I like that callback, that throwback to the coffee. Because again, it was just like a subtle thing in season 1, and they Joel has coffee so much in season 1. If you look back at it, he's like almost every episode at the beginning of when they're just traveling, he always has this little coffee, and it's like, he drinks it black, and she hates it. It's just disgusting.
I'm addicted to coffee, so I respect that.
Sounds my cousin. It's funny, my cousin, he's always just like, I just have to drink coffee in the morning or else I get a headache. I'm like, that's withdrawal. You're going through withdrawal.
my mom 4 cups of coffee every morning and she can't function. I'm like, Jesus, Mom.
That's too much. I'm a basic white girl. I get one of those frozen frappes every once in a while just to treat myself. But
that's not coffee. That's just sugar.
Well, yeah, it's sugar, but they put like a shot of espresso in it, so it's technically a caffeine, but it's not coffee.
Milk and water for this one.
Actually, there is
in my IV.
There is actually a coffee place near me that they do this. It's called like a New Orleans style coffee. It has like cinnamon in it or something, and it actually is really good coffee. But yeah, I'm not a big coffee person. I don't
love it.
Speaking of coffee, we're on our way to Seattle. Let's go to some Starbucks.
You're a Dunkin' guy, aren't you?
I don't go to either, but yes, there are 10 Dunkins currently in my town that I live in.
And
that is not a joke. That is not a joke. If you're at a Dunkin', you can probably look down the street and you'll probably see another one.
That's funny because there's like 10 Starbucks in my town, and I don't think we have a Dunkin'. So, but we have a Dutch Brothers. We got Dutch Brothers coffee, and it's pretty good.
We got Dunkin'. No, we also got Cumberland Farms, which they make a reference to in
Cumberland Farms.
Yeah, Cumberland Farms. It's in season 1 of Last of Us.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, we have it's 50-50. We have Dunkin' and Starbucks. It's Iowa. There's It's all just random chains.
There's one Starbucks in this town, and no one goes to it. It's hilarious.
Got that
So
Boston
funny.
pride. There you go.
It's good.
It's so funny.
But yeah,
All right,
so
moving
then
on
we do,
though.
Yeah, then we get the scene. I like that it actually does show them riding through the country and all that, and yeah, they're playing the game, and she's I don't know, she's like Fleetwood Mac, and she's like false or what. I don't even know what the game is. They're just naming bands,
Like who the best
there's
artist
like
is for
naming
each
bands,
letter.
Yeah, because then she said like Frank Zell or something. I can't remember.
Frank Zappa.
She's Green Day. She's like Green Day.
Yeah. And I think she Guns N' Roses. Yeah, I don't know, whatever it was. But yeah, so they have their little quirky, like, oh, we're friends, we're flirty. And then they do I really thought when she cuts to it, she's like, we need to set up camp. It's going to rain. And then they cuts to the tent. She's like, how'd you know? But I thought this was when they were going to do what happens in the Eugene's pot shop in the game. But
yeah,
like I said, they're slow burning it. They're still just friends, except she does give her the I wasn't that high thing. So that's the obvious, now I'm into you. But
and I do think it's funny that she does say like, oh, me and Jesse already got back together.
Yeah. I think that's to set up stuff that happens later in the game.
I do
though.
Too. Me too. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But that. What's up?
I'm gonna say it's not gonna be long before they start making out and like scissoring each other. It's gonna be great.
Well, that's what happened in the game.
What if they just completely cut that out? It's like, nah, we're not doing that.
They won't. It's Neil Druckmann.
So,
yeah. I look forward to it.
And it does play kind of a crucial part to the plot later on. So you kind of need it.
I'm for it. I'm pro Dina and Ellie lesbian. No worries here.
Yeah, so then it cuts to they're going through, and we find out that the Seraphites thing was kind of a prequel moment.
Freaking massacre.
So they find, at first I thought it was going to be a trap, like it was going to be someone laying on the ground to trick them, and I was like, oh, are they going to change this up? But nope, it is a dead Seraphite. And then she goes in the forest. Yeah, Dina finds it, barfs, and she's like, "That's so gross." And then she goes in there, sees all the corpses, especially the girl holding the hammer, and she's dead.
Yep, reminded me of Anakin in the Jedi Temple.
Rest in peace to Hodge's brethren. They killed the ginger,
little ginger girl.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Hodge's representation is gone now. Damn it.
It's ginger side. It's always how it goes. Always erasing the ginger characters.
No, but again, I thought that was a really powerful scene when they to just show how brutal the WLF can be. Because then we get to the next scene with them marching through the town like the Nazis, and you get Manny on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, because it's because before it shows they're on the highway, and it's like, oh, on our way to and then they get to Seattle, and she's like, oh, it's quiet, so I guess there's not that many. And then she does the stupid, like, there's gonna be a whole lot fewer or whatever, like to try and sound badass, or whatever. And then so you think like, oh, there's not that many, but there's gonna be fewer. And then it's like, oh no, they're wrong. There's a whole army marching through the street.
Yeah, we even get the his name's Isaac, right? Yeah. We got it. I think was it in the scene? It may have been only in the scene.
Oh, are you talking about when they show the next episode and they show what's his nuts, the black dude?
Yeah, Isaac. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like he's like the leader of them. I couldn't remember if that was in the episode or in the scenes.
Yeah, I didn't watch the scenes.
It was in the next time on. It showed him next time on Dragon Ball Z when they go Super Saiyan.
I always skip that. I don't want no spoilers, man. I'll wait till next week.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it was announced that he's cast in the show, so it's not a big spoiler. But yeah, that's Isaac.
But yeah,
he plays Commissioner Gordon in Batman.
We get the brutality of the WLF. We see how big they are. We get Manny being like, "Oh, they want me to be in 3 places at once. Come on."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting how he pointed out that he was watching the wrong zone, apparently. Maybe that's foreshadowing for that's how they sneak into the city, because he was watching the wrong zone or something. He's like, I thought I was supposed to watch 1 through 4 or whatever. They're like, oh, you got to check zone 5 through 6 or whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, it's like 1 through 3. And he's like, I thought I was 6 through 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Goes to show they're not as organized, though, as Jackson.
But they got a lot of people and guns, so.
Guns. Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get just an open world area of Seattle where they go into all the different buildings like in the game, go in the bank and find Nathan Drake's ring.
Probably.
It's like in any RPG. It's like, oh, we got to save the world, but let's go do these side quests first.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was the episode basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just it was good. It just felt like it started off so powerful with all the Joel stuff, and then it just kind of like scene of setup, and I was just
Definitely,
like,
this was definitely a setup episode. Definitely a
Yeah.
setup episode.
Which I
So
really
it was-
enjoyed. Since I don't know what's going to happen, I really enjoyed the building and the setup personally. So.
yeah, it definitely wasn't bad by any means, but I do think it was the weakest of the 3 episodes so far. But that's not to say not to say it's bad, but yeah. I am excited for, like I said, I was saying this to Locke because obviously Locke is in your camp, Sean, of he thinks the game's a masterpiece. And I'm like, this season has been good so far. And I really do hope it kind of reignites my love of this series because, like I told him, my two biggest complaints were the pacing and the fact that Ellie wasn't Ellie. And so far, they're already fixing Ellie. She's not mopey and angry all the time. She has her sarcastic side, and I feel like we're not going to do days 1 through 3 Ellie, days 1 through 3 Abby. I think they are going to intermingle the entire thing, which is good because that was my biggest complaint with the game was you do 10 hours as Ellie and then 10 hours as Abby and then 5 hours as Ellie, and you're like, oh my god, this is paced horribly.
Interesting. I don't think they're going to intermingle it. I think they're going to keep it the way it is.
Oh really?
You're gonna get all Ellie, and then you're gonna get Abby. Yep, that's what I think.
I hope they intermingle it. It's
yeah, because if like season 3 is just Abby's perspective, it's not going to go over well.
We will see.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. We'll find. I mean, maybe they'll do some stuff where they time jump a little bit, where something happens and then it cuts back and shows what. Like, I'm not gonna spoil it. There's a dog in the game, and they do a little time jumps with that dog. So I wonder if they'll do the same with it in this. But
we also get the museum thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not saying like flashbacks to like before the season. I'm saying like during those 3 days, they do cuts. So I think they won't do it as hard as the game where it's 3 days, then 3 days. I think they're going to intermingle it more.
All right,
but I don't know.
Have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see, I guess. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Like I said, worst of the 3, but that's not a bad thing. It was still a good episode.
Yeah, very much so. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that was our recap of episode 3. We're all much looking forward to episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go around, say one final thought. Midnight.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, finally joining you guys. I should be on every episode, most likely going forward, and I'm enjoying the show, and I can't wait for next week's episode. So,
sweet. Hodge.
Yeah, I'm happy you're joining because it is really fun getting the perspective of someone who never played the game. So I really enjoy kind of watching you learn it, even though I've forgotten plenty of it because I didn't finish it when I tried replaying it. But it's fun to see you
someone else's reaction,
see it for the first time. Yeah, so I enjoy doing these episodes. I enjoy podcasting with you folks, with you two fine gentlemen. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoy being here. I will not miss another one. If you like us, if you're just discovering us through The Last of Us, we have a regular bi-weekly show. Sometimes it's weekly. Sometimes we do random DLC episodes. We come out every Monday, and this is going to come out on a Tuesday though, so it's a little different. But our mainline episodes are Saturdays, and this mainline episode is going to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited for it. I can't wait to talk about our favorite states. All right. And that's it. Episode 3.
Our mainline episodes are Monday, he meant to say, by the way.
Yeah, I know. We're recording on Saturday, though.
Yeah.
Right. But the audience doesn't care about that fact. But yeah.
Maybe they
do, just so you know. But yeah. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.